what if Pyramid was low-key kind of thick and goated with the sauce? Or something.
Busted.
I don't know. I got nothing. We're the pod people. I'm America's most defeated man. Matisse Van Rossum.
Fuck, you took mine. I was gonna say, I'm Ben Sheets, and I'm a broken man.
Hi, I'm Cleveland Mosier, and I give the best Pyramid Head.
You've done it, Cleveland. I didn't think it was possible, but I hate Silent Hill now.
Awesome.
Fuck this series.
Hell yeah.
Sometimes bad things happen to good people.
Yeah, let it die. you know?
Sometimes the ones
Let
we
it
love the
burn.
most betray us the most viciously. Sometimes Cleveland makes us watch Silent Hill Revelations to talk about on this fucking podcast. And Cleveland, you've seen this movie 3 times
Once
now.
in theaters.
Why don't once in theaters? And twice after that for some reason.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us about Silent Hill Revelations, since you're the lore expert on it at this point?
Yeah. That's something I never wanted, but here we are.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
Because it seems like your decisions led us here, led us to this point.
They did. It's true.
You have the power. You had the power to avert this.
I did, and I didn't. Because sometimes fate chooses the dark path within us, or some dumb shit like that. That's a platitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. Like most of the dialogue in this movie. Yeah, it's the sequel to the Silent Hill movie.
Yeah.
It came out in like 2012,
Yeah.
but it looks like it came out in around 2008.
Yeah,
know,
correct.
2006 or so.
Somehow looks worse than the first one.
Far worse. Far worse. No, there are things that I like. Some things I like a lot about the original film, though it's mostly bad. Like,
Yeah, I mean, we chose to talk about the first one for a reason. You know, like it has some merits, especially
sure.
compared to the vast majority of video game movies out there.
oh yeah, as video game movies go in particular, sure, but yeah, there's some cool movie making things. This doesn't have much of any of that, and most of the cast is back, and they're doing Silent Hill things.
Well, most of the cast is back for like 1 day on set each.
Yeah,
If
and they're all phoning it in.
Yes. If I had to summarize this movie in 3 words, it would be stop fucking talking. Like,
Yeah.
it is mostly terrible exposition and dialogue, which is amazing, because if you look at the games have very little exposition. Very little is said about Silent Hill. It's mostly experienced. There's these small sequences of interaction between characters, lost in the fog and mystery and fear and horror, and some sort of like revelation or thing at the end, right, where you figure out like why the person is there or whatnot, and that's about it.
See, if I had watched this movie without knowing anything about Silent Hill or the games, I'd assume Silent Hill was a game about seeing who can do the worst American accent.
Damn. Because they do make it a contest.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's almost impressive how bad it gets at times.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think-
actors like Sean Bean are obviously phoning it in, and I mean, I can't say I blame him. You know, sometimes you do a project just to get paid. You show up, put in the bare minimum of effort, and leave with some money in your pocket.
I mean, like, from the actor's perspective, right? Like, you look at that dialogue.
Yeah.
Like, you look,
Well, I
you
mean,
look
what-
at the dialogue script, and you know what you're in for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, what are you supposed to do with this? And, like,
Phone it in.
I've seen Sean Bean in other movies where he does a pretty good American accent, and he was just he obviously did not give a shit.
Yeah.
But then you've got like fucking
Kit Harington.
Jon Snow, doing maybe the worst American accent I've ever seen on film.
I mean, He does a British accent in Game of Thrones, right?
Well, yeah, because he's
Like,
British.
yeah,
he's from the north.
That's his actual speaking voice. Yeah.
I wonder if it's still this bad because, oof, man, it's rough here. Like, he
Yeah.
can't even do a full sentence before.
I mean, so, like, I guess in fairness to him, like, you know, he's pretty young when this movie came out. I think this movie was made, you know, like, after maybe 1 or 2 seasons of Game of Thrones, you know. And in that show, he gets to use his own speaking voice mainly, you know. But, man, there is not a single line of dialogue from his character in this movie where he manages to hold his accent together.
Nope.
Not a single
No.
one. Not
Your
a
father is trapped in Silent Hill.
Like, yeah, man. Like, it's just kind of constantly coming and going. And about at the beginning, he like it almost feels like there might be some effort, but then towards the end, like or towards like halfway through, he just starts giving up
Oh,
entirely.
God, yeah,
And
completely.
like ahs and a's and ohs and all that, like it just starts like creeping in, like not even creeping in, but like the floodgates have opened.
Yeah.
Like it to like such a baffling degree, right? Like clearly, at what level did anyone care?
Yeah, I
Like
can.
on set, did
I see
anyone?
no evidence that anybody gave a shit about this
Right.
movie
Like-
from the bottom up.
Yeah, bottom up. Like the dialogue is rough, but maybe it's sincere. Hard to tell. But like the direction to like the actors to the editing, like none of it feels like it wants to be there.
Yeah.
Like no, the viewers are not alone here. Like it feels like everyone involved on this project
that's-
is like strapped in and can't escape.
that's
either.
the worst part because this is a writer-director joint.
Yes.
Oh, that makes
So-
sense. Yeah.
They not only wrote this, but also directed it, which makes it even more cynical in the fact that, like, it seems unenthusiastically made.
Yeah, I mean
cynically
this is your sort of textbook cynical studio sequel. I don't even think the first one was like particularly successful. So it's interesting that they thought this sequel. I'm pretty sure the first one came out in like 2006, so this sequel is like 6 years later.
Yeah.
It definitely feels like one of those cases where they're like, well, what IP do we have that we can throw something together for? This is the kind of movie that if it were made now, it would be straight to whatever streaming, so like not even Netflix, you know, like this is like a, I mean, we were just talking about Prey last week, but this is like a straight to Hulu fucking
straight to Quibi original.
yeah, R.I.P. Quibi. Yeah, man. We also have mentioned that this was shot for 3D. I did
Yes.
not see it in the theaters, but I do remember that being a part of its marketing, which in 2012 feels late for 3D movies.
It was definitely slowing down by that point.
Yeah, in a big way.
Avatar was a few years old at that point, and
And, you know, we were talking about that. You mentioned that there's still some stuff after this, like Fury Road, which I didn't see in theaters and didn't even realize was originally in 3D, because you can't tell. But this one you sure can.
yeah, there's gimmicks aplenty in it. Honestly, I'm thinking about how this movie would have played in 3D. I feel like I would have gotten the biggest fucking headache during this.
I mean, I was already getting a headache just from the fucking endless bullshit dialogue, the terrible acting, the dog shit CG. Like, having to wear 3D glasses and see some of this ugly, gross, smooth CG, like, flying at my face just seems
yeah.
awful.
It's abrasive and not in like an atmospheric like Silent Hill way, but rather like it'll give you a fucking headache
yeah.
way.
Can I
like,
tell you all about my experience going into
Sure.
Because you were talking about like you couldn't even imagine, right? Well, let me paint you a picture. So I didn't watch the trailer for this movie. My usual
Sure.
fare. I didn't know anything about it, but I was younger at the time, so I didn't put feelers out either. That was the mistake. And I went into the theater with a friend. I think it was Jack, my friend Jack, and we were both like big fans of Silent Hill, right? Like, oh yeah, I can't wait to see this movie. The first one's kind of cool, at the time, 2012. Yeah, the first one's great. Like, can't wait to go in and like see this. Silent Hill 2 is like one of my favorite games of all time. I cannot wait to see them depict James and Pyramid Head and all this other stuff. We get in there, we put on our 3D glasses, and we get this dog shit. And I just remember like walking out of that theater, and we were just both like, well, that was rough, and like just so dejected and bummed.
Isn't this
Yeah.
movie like very loosely based on Silent Hill 3?
I don't know, I never fucking played it.
Yeah, I haven't either.
It has some of the visuals of Silent Hill 3, but that's as far as the connection goes, basically.
I feel like through like watching YouTube videos and stuff, I know basically that the plot of Silent Hill 3 is about like the cult trying to get the protagonist so that they can use her body as a vessel to like summon their god, which is kind of the plot of this one.
Yeah.
Sort of. And isn't the main character in this wearing like the same outfit?
yeah,
that the
they put her
protagonist
in the same outfit. That's...
in the third one. Yeah, man,
But
it's so hard to talk about the story of this movie in
that's
like
the thing.
any sort
Like
of serious
Silent
way.
Hill as a video game series is known for fucking stilted cutscenes. Like that's absolutely a thing. Except you're playing Silent Hill. In
Right,
this,
you can get past the cutscene.
You're a passive observer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like all you have is cutscene.
Yeah, and also like in the games, like there's sort of a lost in translation factor that
Yes.
works because it's like they're like lost spirits. They're these people who are kind of wandering and slowly losing their minds. So if there's a bit of a lost in translation thing there, it works. Like they're having trouble like speaking to each other. Like there's you can put twists on it.
Yeah.
You can't fucking do that with a movie like this. Like it all like they're American actors, like they're British actors or whatever, and it's just like it's really
Yeah, very
fucking-
few actual American actors in this, which is why everybody's doing a shitty accent. Even the
Yeah.
lead is her American accent is passable, but there are a couple of times where it kind of slips, and I looked it up, and she's Australian.
Yeah.
So, man, in regards to like the CG and the 3D a minute ago, you mentioned that it like is devoid of atmosphere, and I think the entire fucking movie is. Like, I think the first one, for its faults at least, it does like a decent job of like capturing sort of the vibe of Silent Hill. A lot of the effects haven't aged super well, but there's some like legitimately atmospheric stuff in that movie.
Yeah.
And in this, every like spooky Silent Hill set piece or whatever is so overdressed that it looks like a haunted house.
Yeah, it looks like they hired the local haunted house to just dirty everything up.
Yeah, it's like for them, like making something spooky is just like draping everything in like torn up plastic.
Yeah.
Like, that's
And I was a bit hopeful even because there's a moment early in the movie, I think the school
Where she's in the
sequence,
school, yeah.
where they cut to a hallway where it's pretty well dressed, like Silent Hill style, with like practical hanging lights and stuff like that. And I thought it was really good. And then most of the rest of it is either
that's about it.
overwrought haunted house, practical, or just ugly CG.
Yeah, that doesn't feel like the same place that the characters are. Like, it's not lit the same. It's like the green screen is so apparent. They even threw like a lot of it CG the fog in Silent Hill, which is fucking crazy to me. It's like you're so cheap you can't even afford like a fucking smoke machine at the very least.
I love it too because like the fog in Silent Hill is, and they do it great in the first movie, like where it feels like it could be snow, like, and you kind of reach your finger out and you touch the snow. It's like, oh wait, no, it's ash. and like there's a thing with that. But here it's just like big fucking brown and like gray flakes of like what can only be like ash, I guess. But it's all CG'd in, and it's like so it's only in the foreground, and it God, it looks so nasty. And it's usually on like green screen backdrops to boot, and so it's all fake.
It's so ugly.
Yeah, and just a hot bummer. So, one thing about Silent Hill that is well adhered to in the first movie, also, is there are rules. It is a town that has been essentially like sort of dimensionally fucked up, you know, by spectral forces of some kind. At the end of the day, it's basically it is an entire town that has been like spirited away, right? Like it's almost fey, like in that sense. It's Americana folklore. It's a dark town. The town itself is possessed. It's scary, and it shifts and it changes. And then there are monsters, and the monsters usually represent some sort of internal psychological fears or traumas or whatever, or things that you've done or guilt. You know, the monsters are all in some capacity metaphoric, and they represent something about your personality, or the protagonist's personality in the story. So the movie immediately breaks any of that by having Sharon Rose, whatever the fuck her name is,
Heather.
It's
It's Sharon from the first one. She escaped in the dumbest way. But,
yeah. So Heather Sherry Derry, whatever her name is, she is not in Silent Hill. Her dad or whatever, or them are like trying to move from town to town. They're just trying to get away from the cult and live on their own. And she's just immediately beset by weird visions and monsters, and the walls are changing and things right off the bat. Like, little to no setup, like, she's just in Silent Hill all the time. Silent Hill has come to her, and I fucking hate that. Like, the whole point is it's the town, you know? And so when you start incorporating this stuff and you're trying to, like, break the laws of reality, like, you're breaking your rules, like, that are established, like, in the story. Because, like, part of the fun with Silent Hill is trying to figure out what the fuck Silent Hill is. And you need to adhere to that shit.
And it's like you're
just trying to do a different movie.
Like, with the barest suspension of disbelief, I can be like, okay, you know, she escaped from Silent Hill, you know, she's the good part of the evil demon Alessa or whatever that, you know, she hid the good part of her soul in that babe, whatever, some fucking stupid bullshit. But it's like, okay, I can excuse it to the extent that, like, well, the town is kind of a part of her, like, with Alessa's spirit, like, being in her body. So it's like she sort of has the ability to see into it, you know, she can get, like, the vision, she can see that spooky reality lurking behind ours, whatever. It's shallow, but, like, I can accept that. But the problem is, there's also a big girl boss pyramid head demon in this one that can just attack her wherever and, like, kills the weird private investigator who's, like, trying to talk to her. It's like, so then they're fully shattering the rules and being like, yeah, Silent Hill can just happen wherever because we need it to, you know. They don't even try to say that, like, maybe she's, like, a conduit for it, so, like, she's bringing Silent Hill into the real world or whatever.
There are no rules. They don't care. They just want...
I don't know why I'm even thinking about it this much.
Like, on one hand, there's that, like, deep disregard for the rules, right? Yeah. Like, for the world, for whatever else like that. Like, a lack of caring. On the other hand, all this movie does is explain things.
Yes,
like
endlessly.
Every conversation is just like needless, like ongoing exposition.
Constant exposition.
Good Lord, like they just won't fucking stop. It's like, please, and like from the top to the end. Like I was saying earlier, like Silent Hill, it's literally called Silent Hill.
Yeah, right.
Like the whole point is the music. Like what's the
Yamaoka?
Yeah, like Akira Yamaoka. His music is like does all the heavy lifting in the franchise. Like it's his music is just creating this beautiful atmosphere for us to walk around it and enjoy.
Atmospheric storytelling.
Right, right,
Yeah.
and it's about the scenery, and it's about like looking around and taking in these strange environments, and occasionally a little bit of dialogue. Like that again, even the dialogue is atmospheric and like disjointed and displaced. So that's it. That's what Silent Hill is. And so to completely miss the ball, like on that, and just have every scene be full of, hi, well, I'm actually from a cult, and the cult is trying to do this, and your father is here, and we have to go to this place, and you're the key and the secret, and the key is actually inside of a girl who is this other girl, and the girl is the light, and you're the darkness, and the cult wants the darkness, but also the light, and there's also a seal of Metatron, and if you put the seal with the other seal of Metatron that's inside of Malcolm McDowell, it's going to unlock the dark that's within the girl that's within the light, and it's like, dude, what the fuck are you
What
talking
is
about?
going on?
Fucking stop.
It's so
Like,
confusing.
like, the girl is the MacGuffin, the seal is the MacGuffin, but there's two seals. Stop. Who the fuck read this and said, like, yeah, I want to put money behind it? Right?
Well, while we were
crazy.
watching it,
It's crazy to me.
While we were watching it, you said that you would be willing to put money on the writer not being a native English speaker, and
yeah, it's like The Room.
And
Yes.
I don't blame you for thinking that. Unfortunately, or I don't know, it's not necessarily unfortunate, but the writer director is a native English speaker, so that just makes it all the more baffling. It's like, how are you even reading a draft of your own script and being like, yeah, this is good. This makes sense. This is how people sound. This is how people talk. There's like so many just like fucking clunky ass lines. What was the one that I pointed out? Kit Harington, or no, she says to Kit Harington, if you loved somebody, you would know that you can't give up.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, I kinda. It's like a bad English translation of something. You know, it's like
If you
it's
love
like
somebody, you would know that you can't.
you would
give
know
up.
that you can't give up, and it's like, I get the sentiment that you're going for, but as like a sentence that
The way
doesn't
that
really
you say
make
that
much
is,
sense.
If you truly love someone, you don't give up. That's how you say it.
Or
right? Like,
you
yeah.
don't give up on them, or like you don't get like you wouldn't give up, you wouldn't stop looking for them because it's what she's
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
looking for her dad, right? Because this time Sean Bean's the one who gets spirited away to Silent Hill, and his daughter has to come after him.
Well, just cult it away. not
Yeah,
even
cult.
spirit
Yeah,
away.
cult it away. That's another fucking thing. The cult is like, they were not established in the first one at all. There was the other cult in the first one who are like hiding in the church or whatever, right?
But they're just the survivors. Like, they're the ones who are
Right.
burning
They're
the
the
witches.
they're burning the witches and stuff, right?
Yeah,
like
They're
they're
anti-cult.
right. Well, I mean, there is like a religious bent, you know, because they think that Sharon's the demon or whatever, so they like take her to burn her. Like, so there is.
She is.
Yeah, right. But they're like, they are a cult. Like, there is a religious bent to it, but the cult in this one is totally disconnected from that cult.
Yeah.
But also are responsible for the bad things going on in Silent Hill, but they were never addressed in the first one at all. And this one is headed up by Carrie Ann Moss, who I caught in one throwaway line of dialogue is supposed to be the sister of the crazy cult leader lady from the first one.
Alice Krieg's character.
Yes, correct. I forgot that was Alex Krieg. So they're both the head of different cults that are unrelated to one another.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
What the fuck?
Man, I just want to take a second to talk about Carrie Ann Moss's terrible makeup. She's like in whiteface with a bad Legolas wig.
Well, she looks
and,
like she looks like a discount version of the evil elf from Hellboy 2.
Yeah,
Kind of, yeah.
of Prince Nuada.
Yeah, Prince
in,
Nuada,
in
yeah,
Hellboy
yeah.
2, yeah.
And
Who, in fairness, I also look like a cheap discount of Prince Nuada, but that's...
But the makeup in Hellboy 2 is good, and he looks cool.
He does.
He's
Well,
he's
a
edgy.
cheap
Yeah,
discount.
yeah.
It's a cheap version. Of
Yeah.
him. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is like
Dollar store
in
version.
in the confrontation scene at the end where the lighting is like a little bit more dynamic and they're in like an actual kind of set.
and
then
not
it's
a
like
Marriott hotel conference room.
I'll get to that. But like the makeup looks a little bit more passable. Like I can see what they're going
Yeah.
for. Like in that, it's like, okay, she's supposed to be like very pale and like she doesn't have eyebrows and stuff. But the first time we see her is in a set, as you said, that looks like it's the conference room at like the airport Marriott or something.
Yeah.
They hung up like a big red curtain on the back wall and hauled in a big plastic Mardi Gras statue that they could chain Sean Bean to.
Yeah, it's like
and,
cheaply airbrushed.
and it's like they use the fucking conference room lighting, so it's like super flat, and there's lots of close-ups of her, and you can tell that she's just absolutely lacquered up with like white face paint, and they didn't like shave her eyebrows or anything, they just painted over them.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I legitimately in that scene couldn't tell what they were going for, like if the character was supposed to be wearing makeup or what. It's so fucking confusing. And it's like, Carrie-Anne Moss is great. Totally wasted in that. That's one of the wildest things about this movie is that, like, there are a lot of good actors in this movie
Giving career worst
performances. The only one, the Ian McDiarmid of this movie is Malcolm McDowell,
Yeah.
who has like a 3-minute scene where he is actually giving a suitably campy performance for the tone of the movie. And it's
absolutely.
like there's like this one little glimpse of what a fun version of this movie could be.
Look, child. Oh, but I am blind. Could you place it in my hand?
Like like I love his performance.
He's hamming it the
so
fuck
good.
up.
Yeah.
And it's like that's the thing about Malcolm
what a king.
McDowell is he's such a good actor. I don't think he's capable of giving a bad performance even when he's in a bad movie.
Yeah,
And
He's a king, yeah.
this was like
He's
the
been in a
time
lot.
period where he would do anything for like $100.
Oh yeah, totally. I don't think he's been in any movies since this movie. Honestly, I mean he's pretty old, so I think he retired. I mean, geez, he was doing this movie and Rob Zombie's Halloween, a few years before this.
Doing
So like,
shitty exorcism movies.
yeah, like
and-
he was just
Yeah,
staying busy, getting a little bit of money,
My
but
man had a full career proving himself.
yeah,
Like,
absolutely. I do not.
Yeah.
I do not begrudge him that for one fucking minute. Get
I'll never hold it against an actor to slum it or
get
whatever.
get
you know?
your bag where
That's-
you can. Get your
Yeah.
bag where you can. But man, it does like throw into stark contrast just like how bad everybody else's performances are. Like
Carrie-Anne
even the
Moss's is
good,
the
even the
weirdest.
the good actors. Yeah.
Because like Sean Beans is just like textbooks phoning it in.
Yeah, just totally flat and emotionless. Who gives a shit?
Right.
Yeah.
Textbook phoning it in. And then Kit Harington's is like just earnestly. It feels earnestly bad. Like he's trying,
Yeah.
but it's falling flat. And then
Trying, but it's not working.
right. But then Carrie-Anne Moss's is almost chewing the scenery,
Almost.
but the delivery is so weird.
She's not in enough of the movie to like really get to do anything fun.
Yeah, they don't give her any opportunity.
It's like she's in like I think she's only in like 2 scenes in this movie in that fucking Marriott conference room and then at the very end. And
there's one part with her and Kit Harington.
and both times, I guess that's right. Yeah, so
That one-
3 scenes.
that seems
But
like
every
too
single scene she's in, she's tasked with just giving endless exposition. What do you do with a lot of that stuff? It's like you can't have fun with any of it because there's so fucking much of it. You have to get it all out before the scene can end, And it ugh.
Yeah, which means you can't hold out your lines. You can't like leave for cool dramatic pauses. It's just like
Nope.
it's just constant.
You just
Yeah,
gotta get the lines out. Gotta get the lines out.
Yeah, and like she's not given anything like physically to do
No.
other than like walk around people or walk around people more.
Yep,
Like,
she
that's
walks
really
around
all
people.
She gets to do.
Yeah,
Like
she turns into a CG demon at the end.
Yeah,
and
it
fights
does
Pyramid Head.
something, I guess.
Yeah, but at that point, it's not her anymore. You know.
And what the fuck does revealing your true form mean, right? Like, because the seal of Metatron is said to reveal your true form, and then it turns Malcolm McDowell into just a big skin boy. Like he's basically like a less cool version of in Resident Evil 3? What's the guy's name? Nemesis. He's like Nemesis but boring. And then he's just like a big skin monster. And then Carrie-Anne Moss gets turned into Girl Boss Pyramid Head, and it's like that's why. What is true about that?
Yeah, she's like a buff Cenobite kind of.
Yeah, and it's like, is it her true self is ugly? That's it? Because that's like kindergarten level shit, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing about like Malcolm McDowell's form that he like his true self, I guess, that he turns into that says anything.
It doesn't
about his
reveal anything
personality.
about it. Just
like if he was greedy
yeah.
or gluttonous, it would like make him like big and fat and feasting and have multiple mouths or something, right? Like that would be a true self, right? Like a demon that shows you what you really are.
Yeah, it's not a true self.
If
It just makes them scary.
Yeah, and like
Quote,
if she was like
unquote.
hungry for power or whatever, like it would make her powerful looking. But it does, I guess. But like, you know what I mean? Like it's nothing. There's nothing there. Like it's fucking platitudes
And it's like
again.
she and the cult are trying to kill the demon, but she's also a demon, and then she fights Pyramid Head, who is a demon who is like the servant of the demon. So everybody's just a demon. So what is anybody's motivation?
demon.
Demon. Yeah, that's about it.
Everyone's a demon.
Yeah.
How impressive is it that like the movie can talk at you for 2 hours and we come off of it like
Knowing nothing.
knowing absolutely nothing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's impressive
Because it's talking at you without fucking saying anything substantial.
Yeah, it's convoluted nonsense.
Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't follow its own rules. It doesn't follow the rules established in the previous movie. It doesn't follow the rules established by the game franchise, whatever. It's just like it's totally based around rules of convenience. What do we need to accomplish loosely in this scene? Okay, bend the rules to accommodate that.
So I want to go to one of my another kind of thing that exhibits the phoning in and the hollowness of this movie is one of my complaints about the first Silent Hill is Sean Bean walking around the town screaming, "Rose, Sharon!" The whole time. And it's like
Yeah.
biblical symbolism. And it's like slapping you in the face with with the symbolism.
Mm-hmm.
At least there he was yelling. In this movie, when he's tied up to the thing and like Heather like comes up to the thing, he goes, "Heather," and that's it. And like a movie that cared, right, would be cutting back to Sean Bean like thrashing around on that, screaming, "Heather, no, Heather," and hurting his wrists, like trying to get out and save and help his daughter. And no one cares enough on set
Yeah.
to try anything like that. Like he doesn't like we're supposed to feel something. Like they forget why we're watching. Like we watch movies to feel shit, right? We want to I want to feel feelings. I want to enjoy something. I want to vicariously like get something out of this experience. But like, how the fuck what am I supposed to fucking feel for?
I don't
Sean
think
Bean when
this.
he goes,
I don't think this
"Heather."
movie was made to make anybody feel anything except
How fucking
frustrated.
sad is that, right?
It looks like he fell asleep.
Yeah.
When
I mean, well,
tied up,
as
honestly.
an actor, you get hired on for a project like this, and they give you the script, and you read it, and you're like, "Oh, okay, so none of this matters."
Yep.
And it's like, why bother putting in any sort of effort? Like, you can tell from reading the script that this is going to be a piece of shit. So why, as an actor, would you make any effort to like give a good performance with the fucking dialogue that you're given? Again, like Malcolm McDowell gives a fun performance, but I do probably think that that is his version of phoning it in. I just think he's really good. So even his phoning it in is still kind of good, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, man. This movie was fucking exhausting. Even, like, the glimmers of interesting things were kind of undercut by just shitty execution. Like, for example, there's a really cool in-concept monster where it's like a mannequin spider,
Yes.
right?
Oh yeah, let's
And,
talk about the Mannequin Spider.
Conceptually, it's a really cool idea, just very Silent Hill of taking used parts of mannequins and kind of seaming them together into a spooky monster.
And it's cool because it's nesting in like a web made of like plastic wrap.
Yeah.
Which is visually very cool and conceptually very cool. Like, I like this idea a lot. However, the CG is terrible, so it looks like dog shit. The mannequin spider looks fucking awful.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to wrap my head around it because the mannequins in Silent Hill, or just mannequins in general, are uncanny and unsettling.
Yes.
There's just normal, regular mannequins are already pretty creepy. So they've already, you know, like they're doing a lot of the lifting for you on their own. Bad CG can often look uncanny. So you would think, okay, yeah, we're doubling down on the uncanny valley. We're getting as far from like human as we can for like the closeness to human to be unsettling. So even like a poorly done like CG like doll monster can look kind of spooky. The problem here is that they tried a little bit too hard with the realness of the eyes, and it looks like
They went back to cartoon.
They went back to cartoon.
You know,
Yeah.
They lost the uncanny
Exactly.
valley.
They went so like somehow far into the uncanny valley, they started to come out of the other side into cartoon again.
Mm-hmm.
I think
And-
the problem too. I get what you're saying, that like bad CG can be like uncanny in kind of a creepy way, but I think the problem still is that
Like Sonic.
even if it looks creepy, kind of, in order to be effective, it has to still look like it's physically in the same space as the actors.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's not threatening at all. Like you mentioned Sonic, the original version of Sonic with the teeth before the internet bullied them into changing the design after the movie was almost completely finished. And that was not intended to be scary, but it was, because the quality of the CG is actually quite good, and you can mostly trick your brain into believing that human-toothed hedgehog is existing in the same meat space as James Marsden, right?
Yeah.
This is not that.
Yeah.
Like, the mannequin spider, while kind of having uncanny elements to its design, especially like the fucking 3D ass CG, is just like so smooth and shitty that you don't buy for a second that it's in the same space as the human actors, and that removes any and all threat. I think.
Yeah, and I think there's a subtle nuance there, right? Like, because with the games, they play with that sense in how the characters stutter and almost jiggle around, and it's very stilted, and like
They're
it looks
also
like-
not real people.
It looks like they're glitching out. And like, if they had done that in this movie, like really pushed that kind of fucked up element of CG, fucked up looking, you know, even if it doesn't look real, it would have given it such a threatening feel because
Yeah.
it looks so fucked up. Whereas with this, like, it looks like they had an intent in mind. They just didn't know how to execute it properly.
The
Yeah.
the flat lighting once again doesn't help. Like
Yeah.
that room isn't darkly lit.
No.
You know, it's not like a crawling armed monster coming out of the shadows. Like you see it from far away, you see it up close. It's all like very neutral,
Yeah.
and you can see the whole thing in full all the time. That's another big part of the problem. Earnestly, Sid's monster
From Toy Story.
from Toy Story looks scarier.
Yeah.
I mean that. I mean that earnestly. Like it is a scarier design, and it's the same thing. It's a doll, it's a spider doll.
Yeah.
And it looks so much scarier
And that
in
scene-
the children's movie Toy Story.
And that scene in Toy Story where Woody discovers it, where he's got like the flashlight
comes up
on,
out of the
and it's like you
shadows.
can just see the baby doll's head, and he's like, "Oh hey, come over here, little fella," and it comes over, and then it like rises up on its big spider legs.
yeah, nightmares,
like
dude.
in a children's Pixar movie, that is legitimately spookier
Way better executed.
than anything in this movie.
Yeah, a single thing.
While we're on the subject of the ugly mannequin spider, that scene very well highlights another big issue with this movie, is that it's fucking horribly edited. There is no good sense of space at any point in this movie. Like, one of the most basic tenets of filmmaking, it's shit that you learn like freshman year of film school, first semester. If you're gonna cross the 180-degree line, you have to have a shot in between that transitions. You have to cross the line with a transition shot before you're on the other side of it. Otherwise, the sense of space doesn't make sense, your brain doesn't like it, it looks wrong. And this movie is just fucking full of that. The reveal of the fucking mannequin spider is a great example of something very similar, where like Heather or whatever is trying to like free this woman who's like wrapped up in plastic web and whatever, and it cuts to like the mannequin spider like unfolding itself or whatever, and we see them looking at it, but you can't from the shot tell where in the room they're looking. It looks like they're looking like sort of across the room, but then in the next shot we see that it's like up in the corner of the room and it's coming like down towards them. And it's edited in such a way that you cannot place where the fuck that is in the room until that point. And it's just fucking bad. It's just like so amateurish. You just get coverage so you avoid shit like that. And maybe they had coverage, maybe the editor's just bad. It's hard to say. Or the editor could have been doing their best with shitty coverage. You never know.
They were both bad.
Or they were both bad. I mean,
Who knows?
Nobody gave a shit when they were making this movie. Nobody fucking gave a shit. And it's like, it's shit that's not even fucking worth talking about, but we have to, because that's what this show is. It's like, we have to talk about this stuff, because otherwise what would we fucking talk about?
I think it's hilarious, and I think it's educational too. Like there's a lot of cool insights there into like breaking down.
I mean,
like,
this
why
is certainly,
don't work.
this movie is certainly a good example of like how to not make a movie from most fronts.
Yeah.
And in that sense, yeah, I guess it's educational, but who boy, is it not an enjoyable exercise at fucking all.
Yeah, I mean, this movie is 94 minutes, but
it
felt
feels
like
so much
3
longer.
hours at least.
It felt so much longer. 10 minutes into this movie, I was ready to be done with it.
The way it's structured, there's just no tension at all. And it ends up making everything feel so flat, and it feels like it goes on forever.
Yeah.
It feels like you are stuck in Silent
Yeah.
Hill.
It feels,
And this is your own
it
personal
feels like
hell.
purgatory, yeah.
And honestly, yeah, this is my own personal hell, watching a shitty movie that never ends.
that never fucking ends. Yeah, well, it's totally devoid of tension because it has no rules. In order for something to feel tense, you have to have an understanding of why a situation is dangerous, right? And when anything can happen at any time just because the movie needs it to, there's no tension whatsoever.
I think I'm a bad friend.
I think you are too.
Just thinking about it.
I think you are too.
And yeah, like.
And I won't forget this.
yeah, give me back. Let's level the tables at least. But no, I don't think that's a term, but whatever.
Level the playing field.
Yeah.
Turn the tables.
Let's level them.
Let's
level the tables.
Let's level the. Well, I mean, a table should be level, right?
True,
Because
yeah.
if not, it's not good for much.
Yeah. So I guess it works. Anywho, yeah, there are a lot of times watching this with you guys where I had a real chuckle because I'd just be sitting on the couch, like just taking in this bad movie I've seen multiple times, and I just someone would say some dumb shit or whatever. One of y'all would just go, "What?" Like, it always kind of giggle out of me, like, just.
What does that mean?
This was such a fucking frustrating viewing experience.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, that looks awful. I'm like, yeah,
Like, it's not.
It does.
It's not fun. It's not interesting.
I had a great time.
I didn't laugh.
I did.
Yeah, you were laughing at our misery. That's where you were finding your amusement. And while I understand that, and a part of me respects it, at the same time,
I mean,
You'll give it back.
I guess we're even.
I will.
I guess we're even now after Greasy Strangler.
Yeah.
This is your Greasy Strangler.
It is.
That's
It
fucking
is.
crazy to me because, The Greasy Strangler is a difficult movie to watch, but at least it's fucking interesting and weird.
Yeah.
And this is not. There's nothing fucking interesting about this movie or weird.
I find it fascinating how you can fuck up this bad. I'll give it that.
Yeah,
that.
yeah, but it's
Like-
unique. Well, it's not even that unique because there's plenty like this, but it's one of those movies where it's not like so bad it's good.
No.
Yeah.
definitely not
Because
that.
like it's just so bad it's bad.
Yeah.
Like it's not funny. It's not something you would like put on ironically at like a midnight movie.
No, if you're enjoying this movie like I was, it's because like some wires have been crossed and pain has become pleasure. Like it's not you're not supposed to like watching this movie.
Yeah, this is,
Well, they have plenty of Kmart Cenobites in this movie.
Yeah, they do.
so-
I love how like when she transforms into a Cenobite, like she just gets buttholes for eyes. And they don't really explain it.
And
It's just
then-
like, yeah, they're buttholes.
and then they get covered up by blades.
Butthole blades.
Butthole blades.
What a movie.
Ow.
Ouchie.
Doesn't make sense why Pyramid Head comes in and fights the demon, fights her at the end and
Tease, it makes
saves.
perfect sense. In the book, at the beginning, it says that the girl of power has the servant. or something.
Yeah,
That's it.
but isn't
That's all we
isn't
get.
isn't Alessa supposed to be like pure evil? Like, isn't that the whole point? That Sharon is like the good part of Alessa that she put into a baby for some reason.
I guess when they fuse, they're just normal.
God, it's so fucking stupid.
It's really dumb.
It's so fucking dumb. None of it fucking makes any goddamn sense.
Speaking of things being really stupid, not making any sense, I do want to bring up my favorite bit because it summarizes so much of the plot. At the very beginning, Heather is in high school class, which is hilarious because she looks like she's 30. They all do.
Yeah.
She's in her high school class, and it's her first day of school, and which is hilarious. Again, saying this about a 30-year-old, but like it's her first day of school, and she stands up in the class and says, "All right, well, your name is." The teacher looks at the clipboard. Heather. Why don't you introduce yourself, Heather? And instead of just going like, "Hi, my name's Heather," because like the whole point of this girl is that what's already been established is that she is on the run.
Yeah.
She's being brought from town to town. Her dad was checking her hair to make sure like the eye is still in it, that their identities need to be hidden. So the natural thing to do in this movie where you're trying to get to Silent Hill as quickly as possible is for her to be like, "Hi, I'm Heather. I don't really have much to say about myself," and sit back down. And that's it. And it's like, ooh, mystery. Like that. There you go. Moving on. Instead, what we get is a very long
Yeah.
dialogue sequence about like, "Hi, I'm Heather, but like you don't really want to know me, and when I say that I mean you really don't want to get to know me." And it's like it's the most like high school like OC shit.
It's like
It
what
feels
a,
like an insult.
It's
right?
like what
Yeah.
a way to draw attention
Tension.
to yourself.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, if she was really trying to keep a low profile, yeah, exactly like you said, she might say a couple of words like, "Oh, me and my dad just moved here, nice to meet you guys," and sit back down. But instead she gives like a 2-minute speech about how I don't want to get to know you, so don't even try to get to know me. we're not friends. We're not ever gonna be friends. You don't need to remember my name because I sure as hell won't remember any of yours. I'm not gonna talk to you in the lunchroom. I'm not gonna read your blog. I'm not gonna retweet you. Like, literally, just like going on
pretty
and
accurate,
on
yeah.
and on. And it's like, if you were in high school and a new student stood up and did that, you would be telling all of your friends about it for the rest of the day. You would not believe what this crazy new bitch in class said when the teacher asked her to introduce herself. Like, what a fucking way as a high school student to draw attention to yourself. It's absolutely fucking absurd.
So, in class today, there was this 30-year-old undercover cop doing this 21 Jump Street style thing, and they just started quoting an incel subreddit. It was bizarre.
Yo, I was there too. She literally said, "I'm not like the other girls, man." It was fucking crazy.
On the subject of undercover cops, there's a private investigator character who we mentioned, who I guess was hired by the cult to find her. If they're trapped in Silent Hill, I don't know how they're hiring PIs, like, outside, like, in the real world, but he's dressed like a PI from the 1940s. He's dressed like fucking Humphrey Bogart in like the Maltese Falcon. He's wearing like a baggy suit with like the tie kind of like loosened at the neck a little bit, like a trench coat, and he's even got like a fedora. Like, he's dressed like a fucking, like Dick Tracy, like you said. It's fucking absurd.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's not. It's so stupid.
My favorite part is after he dies, the cops pull out his wallet from the body bag, and they're like, "Oh, yep, this is a private investigator. He must be from out of town."
Yeah. No, not even must be. Just he's a private investigator from out of town. It's like, how do you know that?
Yeah.
Presumably he's got his PI's license in his wallet, but it sure does look like they're just looking at his driver's
It's something
license.
you definitely loudly announce.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's another like plot thing like that at the beginning where Sean Bean gives her a gift, and he says, "Oh fuck, what is it?"
He gives her a vest.
Yeah, well, no, but what he says to her is something like, yeah, well, you know, like, I just want to give a gift to my almost 18-year-old
For my
daughter.
soon-to-be 18-year-old daughter.
Like, yeah, that's the word, yeah, soon-to-be 18-year-old daughter. It's like, why
who
would you
says
put it
this?
like that?
Why did you wink so many times
Yeah,
during
what the
it?
fuck? Like who-
Also, like, after
what?
she puts the vest on, she, like, goes and sits on his lap, and it's like, no 18-year-old girl is wanting to, like, sit on her dad's lap. Like, that's weird.
Yeah.
But like it's clearly for the plot. Like I guess it's really like chauvinistic and important for them to tell us that she's almost 18.
She's
allowed
almost
to think she's
18,
hot.
yeah.
Like do you see the vibe you got? Like it's like the writers like, yeah, we gotta make sure that they know that she's almost 18. You're
It's
allowed
like,
to think she's
it's
hot.
it's
And
okay
like,
if
what
you
the
think
fuck?
she's hot. She's legal. Yeah.
She's not an undercover cop, okay?
Yeah, it's
She's
so
not
creepy.
30.
Yeah, man. Yeah. fucking
Speaking of
creepy.
stupid fucking details, Sean Bean has like an occult box with just like every time she's had a dream about Silent Hill, she writes it in her diary in the video game Silent Hill font.
Yeah.
And he goes in and he tears them out of her diary. He keeps them in an envelope in this box that's carved with like all of these occult symbols and
And
stuff.
they're
It's
like
like
carved on the outside. And,
Yeah.
and my
Yeah.
man's trying to keep a low profile.
It's like, this is like, yeah, if like anybody were to look around in the house and like see that, like, I'd be like, oh, what's in this? You know, it's like, it like draws attention to it. And it's like, it doesn't even have like a lock on it or anything. It's just like a big wooden box. It's like, do you not have like a safe or something? Oh,
I was joking during that section that I really wish they would have had one of them just be the Silent Hill, you know, writings, but with a cool S.
with the cool S that
Yeah.
you draw on all your papers in school. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would have been neat, I
Give me
guess.
anything, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
anything besides what they gave us here.
I like I like that when she's at the fast food restaurant, which has the most generic name I've ever heard. I think it's called Happy Burger.
Yeah.
When
And there's clowns there
because clowns are scary.
because clowns are scary.
Not because there would ever be like that many clowns at a burger place at
At the mall, at the fucking mall.
Yeah, like weird. Maybe a birthday event, but even still, no.
And then she runs into the back halls trying to get away from the investigator and takes like an old cage elevator like 8 floors down into the basement of the mall because yeah.
Well, like when she's in the Happy Burger, she sees like the children all eating burgers and shit. And then, like, she goes into warpy Silent Hill mode, and she sees
Silent Hill vision.
Yeah, and they instead look like zombies eating like flesh instead, and they put this like warping effect on the camera where like they're literally just like widening and shrinking the image and making it like turn artificially.
Yeah.
And it's the same scary effect, quote, scary effect that they use in the introduction to the Cabin Fever song in Muppet Treasure Island.
It's
It's
a very common effect to show that a character is disoriented in like movies from the fucking like 50s through the 80s.
Yeah.
It's like if you've watched any episode of The Twilight Zone, like you've seen this effect.
That
Like,
was the worst.
It stands out so strangely in this movie.
Worst
from
section of the
2012.
movie in terms of production design too, because it was very clear that they shot it at an actual mall, so they couldn't dress it at all because things were open. So they just put people in spooky makeup and let her run
and
away
desaturated
outside
the
of the
color.
mall
Yeah.
into a different set immediately because like they couldn't do anything with it.
And that was the first thing that really put me to the movie when I watched it back in 2012.
Oh, that was the first moment that the movie was off-putting.
Well, back when I watched it in like 2012, yeah, because like you're completely not first off-putting, but like that's where I completely like lost faith in the film.
Okay.
Because I mean now I think if I had been watching it for the first time I would have lost faith well before, but like
5 minutes in, when they explain how she escaped from Silent Hill, that's when I lost any small, tiny bit of faith I had in this movie.
Yeah, you find yourself like kind of almost shouting at the screen at that point because it's like what the fuck is this? There's like scary like zombie clowns and stuff. Like Silent Hill has nothing to do with any of that. Like none of the games have like visions of like zombie clowns eating flesh. That is just
well, they bring it back later at the
game
fucking carnival, at like the spooky carnival in Silent Hill, and like the merry-go-round with all the horses wrapped in plastic, and Pyramid Head in the middle cranking it with this big.
He's just cranking it.
Yeah, his big exercise bike that is turning the whole carousel, where she has her showdown with Alessa, where they fuse into one, I guess, for reasons. Yeah. I don't fucking know.
The dark becomes light.
Can we rate this and be done?
Yeah.
I'm so I don't want to talk about this anymore. This was fucking miserable. Half a star.
Yeah, I don't like Silent Hill anymore. I don't like the games. I don't like Kojima. I don't like Konami. I don't like movies anymore. I don't think.
Kojima in there too. Or just film in general.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's over. Half a star.
We've entered the Ben Hates Movies arc of the podcast. I love it. I'm so glad I could bring about this new age. 5 stars, man. It's a masterpiece. Fucking great. Yeah. Let's do it. What if I did?
I wouldn't believe you. I don't believe you.
Maybe I'm just gonna give it 5 stars.
No, I won't accept it.
Yeah, fuck it.
I won't accept
I
that
don't care.
rating.
I don't care what people think about my ratings. Fuck it. Yeah, 5 stars. No, I'm not actually gonna do
No,
it.
it's not. I won't accept it.
5 stars. It's a
care.
legitimate torture weapon I can use on others.
Yeah, 5 stars. 5 stars for that for sure. I've conditioned myself. I've had little bits of poison. You see, so like I could.
Yeah, like Rasputin, you eat a little bit of arsenic every morning with breakfast.
Exactly.
Just
I'm
watch
immune.
1 2-minute Quibi of it every day.
Yeah.
That's now you just put on the Lawrence Welk show and I just start cackling hysterically and no one knows why. I'm gonna say Once Walk is just for old people. It's boring.
Yes,
It's a bit.
yes.
But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna say fuck it, Solidarity, half a star. Why not? That sounds good.
Okay, cool. Unanimous. Dog shit. Ignore this one. Don't watch this movie.
That's not bad.
We should,
Yes, it is. It's literally the worst rating that we could possibly give it.
we should, start tracking, golden poops.
Oh, there you go. This is golden poop.
Doo-doo pods.
Yeah, we've had a few. Slender was a unanimous half star.
Yeah, I think that was just you and me. Though.
Fear.com.
Fear.com.com.
I have since seen Slender, and I would agree.
When we were going into this, I was asking, like, is this going to be the worst film we've ever covered for this podcast? And though we gave it the same unanimous lowest score possible, I do still think personally that Fear.com.com is worse.
Yeah, it is a little bit worse.
By a very, very narrow margin. I think that that's still the worst movie we've ever talked about on this podcast. But Slender is up there, or down there, I should say. This is definitely down there. I'm trying to think of others. I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna pull up our list here.
This movie takes you to hell. No, wait, you're
A lot of
there.
our previous unanimous half stars were like early solo movies, like Megan is Missing.
Ooh, yeah, fuck that.
like
Megan is
that.
Missing sucks too. I've kind of memory hold that one. Yeah, back when we still did punishment reviews. Yeah, well, all right. Unanimous half star. What's next week?
Well, I'll leave this option up to you guys because we can either cover Orphan First Kill,
Oh, good. Another
which
great movie.
we did veto.
Yeah, Cleveland and I
So,
vetoed that at the beginning of the
I
year.
didn't because it kind of looks hilarious. However, you guys vetoed it, so I'll leave it up to you guys to decide whether we want to do it or not. If not, it's my pick. So-
Honestly, it looks like Dear Evan Hansen levels of bad. The trailer now that we have a trailer to
Yes.
go off of, I wouldn't be opposed.
Do we have to go? We have to go to the theater for that, or is
No,
it streaming anywhere?
it's on stream.
Oh, thank God.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll rescind my veto. I don't think any of us have seen the original Orphan, right? So
you know
we're
what? When we covered the most recent Grudge movie, none of us had ever seen the fucking Grudge.
that. Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah.
That's
I've
true.
since seen all of them.
Well,
I don't think we lost anything by not.
well, okay.
I love the movies, but
Then I guess next week is Orphan First Kill. So the ride continues. The ride of shitty movies continues. Well, sponsor time.
Ring-a-ling-ding, sponsor ding.
So we can wrap this up and be put out of our misery.
Well, speaking of wrapping up, here's a wrapped up piece of paper with a sponsor written on it. I'm just going to fold it open and tell you all what the sponsor is this week, as we do every week, because that's what we do. This episode... Oh. Just read that paper. Ouch. Yeah.
What does it say?
Oh. What? Why is this sponsoring? Why is this sponsoring the podcast? This is fitting. This episode is brought to you by Hurricane Katrina. It happened, and now it's happening again. Same hurricane. It's kind of like the butterfly effect, but it's the same butterfly.
Did you say Bunderfly effect? Almost the Brundlefly
I was
effect.
gonna say it's this.
Did I?
This
I might have.
Kmart uncle.
I'm pretty sure you said Bunderfly.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to, but it fits. It's a bunder. It's the.
Hurricane Katrina was caused by a Bunderfly flapping its wings.
I bundered that one. Yeah, it's a butterfly effect. You can go to the library and read about it. It's a hurricane that happened. I remember it last time, and now it's sponsoring the episode. I guess
Cleveland and I are Hurricane Katrina survivors.
we are. We were there.
It didn't really hit where
I'm
we
a-
lived
I'm a
particularly
hurricane.
bad though, but we did survive it.
We did
Hey,
survive it.
It was there.
Me too, actually. I survived it. I wasn't anywhere near it.
But you did
I
survive,
did
yeah.
survive, so
Damn. true.
technically.
Well, yeah, but by that technicality, we're all 9/11 survivors too. And
That's right.
Yeah, that's
show
right.
show some respect.
Yeah.
No. Hold on. Let's not steal valor now. Wait, that's not valor. Whatever. Whatever that is, it's
Stealing-
theft of some kind, and I don't
stealing
approve of it.
stealing 9/11 valor.
Oh my god.
All right.
Oh dear. Oh no.
That's it. That's it for this
Please,
podcast.
Let it be it. Let it end. Oh god.
If you feel so inclined, but I wouldn't blame you if you don't, you can leave us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts or wherever.
Or half
leave
a star.
Leave us
you know?
a review. Well, no, I would rather you don't do that because we don't have that many reviews. So like a half star
That would
would
fuck us over for
kind
sure,
of like
yeah.
tank our numbers a little bit.
I
So
hope we've given our listeners a better time than Silent Hill Revelations.
yeah,
How's
I
that
mean,
for
I
a
hope
revelation?
you got some vicarious pleasure from our pain, and if you did, leave us a review
Yeah, I hope
and
picking
a
this
good
movie was worth it.
and a good.
The expression on your face right now.
You're gonna get yours.
You're gonna get got.
Fucking bring it. I'm ready.
when you're least
Bring it on.
when you're least expecting it, you're gonna get got. But
There's
you
nothing you
can
throw at me.
you can also support us on Patreon at patreon.com/podpeoplepod. Shout out to honorary pod boys Sam Simon and Zach Confer. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys enjoyed our suffering, because I know y'all are listening at least. You can follow us on Twitter at podpeoplepod and at letterbox.com/podpeoplepod, where you'll find a list of all the films we've talked about on the show with our average ratings and links to those reviews. You can follow me on Twitter at SomeSpookySnake.
I'm on Twitter at Mr. Sheets.
And I'm occasionally tweeting for Light Arc Studios. We put out progress on It Stares Back. You can also find them on lightarcstudio.com. Or find it, not M. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, you can also find my work on dreadxp.com. Amongst all of the super cool spooky games, I do art for them, and it's fucking awesome and great. Most recently, of course, you've got The Mortuary Assistant, which is an absolute banger of a game, as I said last week. And yeah, much more to be said there. Stay tuned. We've got some cool announcements coming up for new things that I can finally start talking about very soon, and I'm very excited about that. So keep your eyes on Dread XP. That's it from me.
All right. Well, this was awful. Bye.